Hey guys, Lysa here. Today we're covering the new update that just came in, and once again, I'm not going to full detail on every single thing because I don't want the video to stretch for too long. But I will cover brief information about the new things that just came. So yeah, let's get started. So, let's first look over the minor changes the game has made before getting to the update. The biggest minor tweak seems to be an overall nerf to every single AoE ability and the addition of precision. Precision is basically an additional 10% damage increase starting at 3 enemies, and an additional 10% the lower the enemy count. Any higher, and the buff disappears. It seems that the devs want to push single target subclasses more into the spotlight, so they're reducing overall AoE effectiveness in bigger parties. However, it hasn't been as effective yet as everyone still follows the same AoE spam meta. On the other hand, it's now way easier to do trios and below due to the precision addition on AoEs. There's also been a regeneration and guarding buff tweak, where regeneration now stacks and guarding still grants half your damage reduction on unblockable attacks. Currently, there aren't any unblockable attacks, but I'm assuming that this was done for the spike in difficulty for the future. And the last minor tweak we have is the new win or lose screen, which is honestly nice as they're improving further on the funny grayscale UI of the game, which I hope continues on for the rest of the UIs. Moving on to the new items, the Bard now has new dungeon equipment called the Sanguine set. There's also new charms from the Souls, as well as new weapons for the new subclass, which I'll get into later. I'll be leaving information on the screen for you guys to check out if you want. Now, let's move on to the reworks. Beast recently got a rework, and it basically turned him into a more bleed synergizing DPS, as he procs a lot of bleed now on enemies. His equipment is also now more leaning towards strength instead of both, as he scales higher into strength now. They also tweak him to do more damage the lower he is, which promotes a lot of hardcore beast trolling just to flex that he's now quote unquote viable. He's pretty much played the same other than that. Speaking of reworks, I cannot stress how beautiful the Bone Drake rework was, and thankfully, they didn't add 3 faces to this one. But yeah, they turned a cute out-of-place puppy into an actually really cool boss that is actually kind of scary now due to the additional HP and the summon being already part of the fight and buffed with new moves that do a lot of damage. Now, let's move on to the actual juicy part of the update, which is the addition of 3 new subclasses. Once again, I'm gonna repeat that I will only briefly cover what these classes do, as I will make a guide about them soon. First, let's talk about the Grudge Setter subclass. This subclass is for the Warrior class, and can be obtained in the mines from the event called a Dwarven Slayer, which is a nice little reference to Goblin Slayer, as even the image has goblins around him. This subclass uses the new hammer weapon type, and already has a lot of hammer models to use. He's kind of played as a late round nuke, as he focuses on buffing other nukers, reducing damage by taunting, or using one of his moves that enfeebles, all while building steam for when he does damage later on. I will say that the subclass isn't really one of the stronger subclasses, and you'll realize this once you get to play it, and when I actually make my guide for this one. Then, there's the Artificer subclass. This subclass is for the Mage class, and can be obtained in the mines from the event called a Kobold Inventor. This subclass surprisingly uses a gun as its main weapon, and its whole gimmick is creating a DPS oriented turret while having the options to set up based on its second highest stat. This, in my opinion, is the only good subclass that can release, as the rest are currently underpowered. Lastly, we have the Evolve subclass. This subclass is for the Brawler class and can be obtained in the sewers from the event called A Vat of Acid. This subclass focuses on building dodge tanks, which actually enables people who like dodge builds. And one of its gimmicks is that it can infinitely gain stat points per devoured enemy, meaning you play it like a late game hypercarry in return for spending an extra R building the Evolved. Honestly, I think this subclass will be hated severely in the future for making the already long campaign Rs longer due to the need to stat build for the late game hypercarry. And as of the moment, it isn't a good idea to play the Evolved due to the lack of a need of a late game hypercarry. Well guys, that's pretty much everything for this update. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and I'll see you guys soon. Bye bye!